Welcome back to more esports talk, people. Amidst all of the allegations, the backstory of Fugly and his benching from the Envy roster, now alongside many other player stories facing similar situations, we have a response from Nifty on the situation via Twitter, albeit does not touch on any of the details revealed by Fugly in his story, which, by the way, if you guys want those full details, I did a video on that yesterday because that backstory, it's strenuous, it's crazy, it's one of the worst backstories of a benching of a player in CSGO that I probably have ever read through. So if you guys want to check that video out, feel free to. And now all of this, guys, yes, Nifty not touching on the details, and if anything, has made everything all the worse for Envy, who, by the way, at the point of me recording, have not yet responded to a situation which just needs to be responded to, in my opinion. Nifty did go on to Twitter, though, to actually state in response to Fugly, "I know it didn't end the way any of us wanted to. However, regardless of what was said, I would never wish ill upon you, and I hope you excel elsewhere, Jacob. You have everyone's support." And that was it. That is the only response we have seen so far about this. And again, a backstory which, rivals that. It probably beats out that of, the E United signing of Cooper. That was Freakazoid's brother at the time. That felt wrongful. That was emotional as well. That was a crazy situation. This also rivals out of the Optic situation when it goes back to Stanislaw and Daps. I would say this, though, now all the worse because we have several pro players, ex-teammates and ex-Envy guys themselves, and other pro players all saying similar things of how this situation sounds very similar, looking all the worse for a guy like Nifty, who seemingly made all the choices to remove at least a few of these players, and if not him, then some GM or some upper management in Envy had some miscommunications and mistreatments of several players out there. Now the responses to Nifty's thing, again, all too reminiscent of the snaky times of Stanislaw, which was I would say, not necessarily a meme, but a big thing for quite some time, and now going forward, unfortunately, it seems, until this is actually cleared up, the snaky thing will now be the Nifty situation with the Fugly benching and now benching of other pro players included. Now, amongst them, we have several responses. JDM himself saying, sounds very similar with his immediate benching or removal from this active roster. We have Android giving his 2 cents, saying the same thing. That sounds very familiar. Semphis, also an ex-teammate out there, saying, sounds very familiar. And it does continue. Def also adding his 2 cents to this story amidst other pros as well. It does not look good when you not just have one pro player and Fugly talk about this, but then you have several pro players who are either just in general pro players in the community, but also ex-Envy guys themselves, even if they weren't, backing up this story. It makes it seem all the more suspicious. And again, got to remind all of you guys, it's not Hastro who is being blamed in the situation, although you would say, and hopefully he would intervene somehow and talk about why he was not in these proceedings, why he was not involved in actually helping out these players, and why supposedly one player was making all the shot calls, that being supposedly Nifty. Again, this is one of the worst looks for an org that I have seen in some time, covering a lot of CSGO and esports stories out there. And when it comes to a guy like Hastro, has been pretty good at responding to a lot of things out there, especially most recent controversy around their Call of Duty team and the Mutex situation. If you guys heard about that, we talked about it here. It was actually Mutex, one of their former Call of Duty members, who took to live stream to say some very, very bad statements, bad word usage, I would say, on stream. Within a day or two, it was actually Hastro taking to Twitter to respond to that situation. This one, to me, is just as bad and does require at least some response out there. Nifty gave a reply via Twitter that didn't touch on a single thing, and we have yet to hear from anyone else on Envy exactly what went down, not just with Fugly, but with all of these other players who mysteriously were let go or removed, including an assistant, a manager, I believe, alongside a coach, who were all just let go, and no other players knew about this until the day it happened. We're going to wait for all these follow-ups, guys, and definitely some more CSGO stories, more esports stories coming all day long. Until next time, I hope you guys all enjoy, and I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.